What's going on, guys? Tons and tons of moves in the markets last week, and we know tons and tons of moves are coming, and we have to prepare for them. Now, whether you had a good week, a not so good week, or a horrible week in the markets, you need to hone in and focus so that you can make the next week even greater than your previous one. Now, if you're ready, let's break down the charts. Let's go. All right, guys, as usual, we will start with gold today, and we're going to break down and take a look at how things have been shaping out. So we know for a while now we've been around this all-time high. And as we see from the previous week, we have started our descent to the downside. Okay, so we are going to take a closer look at things to see if indeed gold is headed towards the downside based on what we're seeing, the technical showing us. All right, so we're on the daily time frame right here. And originally what we saw on the daily is that this particular area was an area of support for gold. And that particular area was broken. Okay, that was a big deal. This was a really, really important area for gold. What makes it so important? Well, if you think about just talking about the daily time frame, we're talking about an impulsive move here. This entire thing is a retest, right? And we have another impulsive move to the upside, another retest, another impulsive move to the upside, and we have a retest over here. So here was your most previous low. This is your most previous low. And if an uptrend is going to continue, we can't break this low. For the uptrend to continue to be valid, once we had made this low, we don't want to break that low if we want that uptrend to continue to be valid, or if that uptrend is just going to continue to be valid. So then we make a new low. This is your new low. Higher, we're making higher lows. Price comes up and comes back down, but it matches that previous low. Okay, I would not necessarily say that it broke the low. There's no definitive break yet. There's wicks that are lower than this area, but there's no real definitive break of that area. But the first real break we got, as price edged even higher, we got our first real break of the previous low right over here. And that's very important because this can signify that we may be seeing the beginnings of a reversal to the downside. Okay, so what's also key to note is that not only did we get this low being broken, but we got to retest back to that area with the next candle. And that should be a lot clearer as you go down in time frames. Okay, so as you go down to the 4 hour, the 1 hour even, we broke the low, and this is now your retest back to that area. So now we need to see what exactly is going to happen for the week to come. Because a couple of things could be true, right? So what could be true is that this move that broke the low could be a fake out. Okay, so what do I mean by a fake out? Meaning it breaks the low, and then the very next candle comes back into that area, and then eventually get a continuation to the move upwards. And then maybe you even break the high, or at least you get to the area of resistance. That can happen. That has happened before. Okay, but also what's important to know, which is what we're really taking a look at, is that because this broke the low, and now we're at an area where it looks like it has retested, right? Previous support has become resistance. Now we need to see if we're going to get a continuation downwards. And this could be a very significant move, okay? Because we do have a long way down to go, right? So there are little areas of support. You could technically say this is an area of support, right? But once we break that area, once we've gone past this area, we have a long way down. All right. And if you are willing to hold the trade, or at least willing to focus on one pair and milk that trade and get into multiple positions, you can make tons and tons of money and transform your account just from this one move alone, depending on if gold is going to go towards the downside. All right. So we need to take a look at this. And for me, just looking at the higher time frame, we haven't even broken things down or anything. Just from looking at the higher time frame, I would strongly be looking at this area, this low over here. If price breaks this low that it just recently made, then I do believe that we're headed towards the downside. And I would set my alerts there. I would set multiple alerts, whatever. But I need to know if price gets down past this low after that retest, then we probably will be headed towards the downside. And it may be an aggressive move as well. Okay, so we need to watch out for that. That can be a possibility. But let's keep breaking down the charts to see what we have to come more recently. All right, so we are on the 4 hour. I'm going to look for more areas of support and resistance. We know that this area over here played a role in resistance. Okay, and it also played a role in support. So we could take a look at that, all right? So multiple hits when we talk about areas of resistance, and also multiple hits when we talk about areas of support as well. Okay, so take a look at all of that. So that is a significant area, and we need to see if price is indeed going to come back to its way upwards. Then this may be an area of resistance, a potential TP, right, that price may get to. So that is also an important area. Going down to the 1 hour, just taking a look at some more details again. All right, looks pretty much the same as the 4 hour. No major new details that I see, but what I am looking for, again, what I'm looking at is, again, is price going to break this low? Because if it does, then we may be headed downwards for an aggressive sell. Or is it going to continue on and head towards this area of resistance? So what I do is I'd set an alert right over here. If price breaks that area, that can be a potential area where I could take a buy, and you would set an alert anywhere down here under the area of support. If price breaks that, then that will also be an area where you can take your sell, and let's see what happens. Okay, so these are the two scenarios that I could see, all right, when the market opens up next week. Again, the sell scenario could be really, really promising if that does happen. But again, you're not going to lead with that. You're going to allow the market to do what it does. And then after it does that, then you're going to react to the information that's presented to you, all right? So moving on to the next pair. So let's go to UJ. So in the previous week, we are starting to break this area of resistance that has been here for some time now. All right, as we go down to lower time frames, we can see now this is very similar to gold here. So we've broken this major area of resistance in gold. We had a major area of support that was broken, and we have retested that area. All right, so very, very similar scenario over here. So we got your break and you got your retest. Now the upside also for UJ looks very, very promising. The next significant area of support is right over here. And that is a ways to go. And if we break that area, then the next area of support is going to be somewhere up here. But either way, if we look at the range for this area, so from where price currently is to this area, we got close to about 400 pips of a range over here. So there is plenty of room to make money on this UJ if the continuation happens with this upside. Okay, so let's go down for more information over here. So we broke through this major area of resistance, okay, and we have now retested that area. Now what I want to see, of course, is I want to see us get past this previous high that we have made. This can act as an area of resistance, but I want to see us break that, and that is where I'd be comfortable entering my buy. Okay, so some people would enter their buy exactly where price is currently, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I really like implementing support and resistance when it comes to my entries. I'd feel more comfortable. I break this area of resistance, and then I know that the next area of resistance is nowhere close to me. I feel much more comfortable taking my buy after this area over here. Okay, going down to lower time frames. Now there is also a possibility we may continue towards the downside. That can happen as well. If we reverse and continue towards the downside, then if we're looking for entries to the downside, we're looking past this area. There's a mini area of support over here, as well as the previous low from this candlestick is over here. Once we get past that area, again, then we are looking at potential areas to take a sell entry. Okay, so same thing with gold. There are entries that we want to take once price breaks out of these support and resistance areas. When they break out of them, they're going to head towards the next possible resistance, next possible support, and then that's going to be where you can really milk these trades, and that's really where you're going to see a lot of volume gets pumped into the market when it's in that free fall or when it's headed towards the upside. Okay guys, so that is UJ. You want to watch out for this. It looks like a great entry for the sell side when we talk about lower time frames like 1 hour and down. But when you're talking about the overall move, going to the daily, the overall move, this may be a strong buy and continuation of the buy when you look at the higher time frame. All right, so watch out for both. Whatever the market presents, you're going to execute. Let's go to an indice US30. All right, guys, so with US30, this is where we are. We'll drop down to the daily to get a little bit more information here. So US30 has been choppy, as you can see, pretty choppy, consolidating a lot on higher time frames. But eventually, when you see that happening, eventually it's getting ready for a pretty big move. And we can get a move, a huge move, whether to the upside or the downside. If we're taking a look here, this was an impulsive move to the upside, and what this looks like is just a retest. So this could be a potential retest to the upside. That can happen if you're looking at candlestick patterns. But at the same time, you cannot deny that the sell side is still very much valid as well. Okay, so if you're taking a look here, we have been on a downtrend. When you look at these lower time frames like the 4 hour, 1 hour, etc., we recently broke out of that, but we need to see if price is going to respect this particular area for the retest. Okay, so we broke out of that area. Is price going to respect the retest as it approaches this area and continue on to the upside? That is the main question over here. And if it does not, then we have an opportunity to take a sell at least to this area of support over here. And that can pay out significantly for you. So what I'd wait for is allow price to get to this area. All right, allow price to get to this particular area over here. And why? Because this is an area of support, as well as it's an area that is getting close to that retest area. All right, so it may wick down or whatever, but as it approaches this area of support, let's see what price does. Does it bounce off and then head back towards the upside? Because that may be a buy opportunity. But if it does not, if it breaks through, gives you a little retest back to this area and then heads towards the downside, then you have your entry right over here and you have your TP perhaps right over here, or even back to this ultimate support right over here. Okay, so that is a solid opportunity for US30. It's been very choppy again, so there's no telling where it could head towards, but there are smaller moves that you can capitalize on. And you know, with US30, there's no real small move. This is a very, very volatile pair, and you can get paid out pretty nicely. All right, so from this trading opportunity over here, if you were to enter on this sell from this area, then you definitely have over 100 pips that you're dealing with, which is not too bad at all. But let's see what happens if it bounces off this area of support and heads back towards the upside. Then that would mean you would have had this whole range to fill up, and that would mean you have quite a buy opportunity on your hands, and that whole range is about 400 pips, right? So that's what it is for US30. Watch it again and execute. Last but not least, let's go to US oil. All right, guys, US oil, this is where we are right now. All right, so if we're taking a look at oil, very, very choppy. Obviously, it's been on this long consolidation. This entire thing has been consolidation when you're talking about higher time frames. Entire thing, consolidation. So as you know, when you're getting long consolidation, eventually the market is gearing up for a major move. So which direction could that move be headed towards? Now, if you're looking at just structure, you had this move to the downside. You had a couple of things going on. You had this major move to the downside. You had a retest and then another move to the downside before you started getting all of this consolidation. So in terms of where price will probably go based on structure, it can definitely continue on to the downside when it's ready to make that major move outwards. Okay, could definitely continue to the downside. But we know that a consolidation may not be over, and with the consolidation also is a range. We have a range in this area, right? So if we look at this area, we're also at the bottom of this range. And if we are looking for buy opportunities, we have a solid opportunity once we break this area of resistance over here. We break this area of resistance, we got quite a ways to go back to the upside while we are in this range. Okay, that's just from a higher level perspective. So as we go down to lower time frames, we see more information. And again, if we're going to break through for the upside, then definitely you want to see this breakthrough. You want to see the retest. You enter and you got quite a ways to go. You got a TP1 over here, potentially. You got a TP2 over here. And then your TP3 could definitely be the ultimate area of resistance at the top of that big range. Okay, now for the sell side, what's probably going to be more comfortable and more solid of a sell if you allow price to get past this area over here. Once it gets past all of this area, all of that consolidation, then you have a little bit of a range, not a huge range, just a little bit of a range before you get to the end of that candlestick, right? That support right over here, right? So if we look at that, even though it looks small, it still could be significant. From there to there, we're talking about close to 200 pips of a range, all right? So that is your sell opportunity if it does get below that area. Okay, so plenty of opportunities. Again, we have to see what the market gives us. We could always mark up and give our biases. Yeah, I believe oil is heading up. I believe gold is heading down. You could give all of that. But if the market comes out and it's doing the opposite of what you thought it would do, then traders can get messed up or get stuck to their particular markups. And that's where you start losing trades. You need to allow your markups to be a little open, allow yourself to see both scenarios so that when one scenario plays out, you're already ready and you know how you're going to execute on that. All right, guys. So I hope you guys have a strong week. Let's continue the momentum. Let's continue to make this money, guys. And I hope you gain value in this video. If you did, please like, share, and subscribe. And until next time, Joe the Maestro. Peace.